Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for more durable acquaintances. Maybe. Today we're building John Constantine. He's the answer to the question, what would happen if you fed a cat dog of Doctor Strange and Van Helsing nothing but booze and nicotine? The answer is a hot mess of unmatched swagger and feigned ambivalence. A man after my own heart.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to know everything about the occult, demons, angels, and everything in between. Next, we'll make sure that we can make deals with some, which may not be entirely honest. They're demons though, don't feel bad. Finally, we'll get some magic spells to make us a pain in the ass for all the evils trying to enter the world of mortals. For stats, we're using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just make sure you don't skip on dexterity and charisma. Charisma will be our top stat. Most Constantine fights are ended with a clever ruse or loophole in dogmatic or demonic law, which I'd consider a mixture of charisma and intelligence, which is why intelligence is next. It helps you find those loopholes to exploit with your deception. Dexterity after that, we need it for multiclassing, and sleight of hand is a must for any decent magician. Follow that up with Constitution. It's amazing how many encounters you survive, especially considering you probably had a solid buzz going, which is also Constitution related. Can gin and tonic be a spellcasting focus? I'm asking for a friend. Wisdom is a bit lower. We'll get some skills from the wisdom section, but you don't bargain with Lucifer if you have an abundance of self-control. Finally, we'll dump strength. You tend to get pinballed around a bit when people actually hit you. John is a human that regularly gets beat up by Hellspawn, so we'll vary him up a little bit to make him more durable. The tough feat gives you plus 2 HP for every level you get. It's a simple feat, but don't worry, there's more than enough complications coming. Bump your dexterity and your charisma with your 2 free points. Grab Arcana for your skill of choice and the Acolyte background for religion and insight proficiency. Just because you know angels doesn't mean you have to like them. Kick things off as a rogue. You'll become a magician, but you were born to be a trickster. You have 4 skills from the rogue list: stealth, sleight of hand, deception, and persuasion will help you con people on the streets. The real reason to start any multi-class with rogue is to maximize your skills. Starting as a rogue gives you 4, but multi-classing into rogue later only gives you 1, so you're going to be down 1 skill. You can also grab expertise with 2 of your skills. Sleight of hand and deception would be my picks. Fighting dirty isn't a problem, so we'll use sneak attack when you have advantage, or an ally within 5 feet of a creature you're attacking to deal an extra d6 damage. You gotta be using a ranged or finesse weapon, and John actually uses a real crossbow sometimes, so for once, it's not just a reflavored gun. Second level rogues get cunning action, letting you dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action. Knowing when to leave the scene is important for any ne'er-do-well, and you're still working your way to becoming the good man you will be. Now comes the big question. What kind of caster should John be? He studies like a wizard, certainly he knows his gods and demons like a cleric, but more importantly, he was in a punk rock band, so we're going bard. You get 1 more skill of your choice when you multi-class into bard, and of course performance helps me justify this choice, we're going with that. You get bardic inspiration, letting you give your allies a d6 to add to a d20 roll as a bonus action. You have an amount of these equal to your charisma modifier. John is supportive in his own special way. For your cantrips, vicious mockery is a must for any bard, letting you force a wisdom saving throw of 8 plus your proficiency bonus and charisma modifier on a creature. Failing that, they take 1d4 psychic damage and have disadvantage on their next attack roll. Gods, monsters, doesn't matter, you're never one to mince words. Prestidigitation does a bunch of small things. It's basically close-up magic, the spell. Check it out in the player's handbook and use it creatively for some real fun. Magic illusion creates a small visual or audible illusion. Don't sleep on the audible one. It's really useful to distract guards. My move is always to make it sound like a crying baby. People won't go looking for a barking dog, but if you hear a baby crying at your cult meeting, you investigate that. For first level spells, detect magic lets you sense magical auras and what type of magic is causing them. Identify tells you what a magical item is and how many charges it has left if it's a charged thing. Charm person charms a humanoid that fails a wisdom saving throw for an hour. Use this for the good of all mankind, or so you can skip out on rent. Silent image lets you create an illusion that fits into a 15-foot cube but doesn't have any sensory effects. Thankfully, minor illusion doesn't require concentration, so use your silent image and then add some sound. It'll just take another action. Now before we go too much further, Constantine's list is kind of similar to my Doctor Strange spell list. I'm going to try and find the most in-character spells, but an argument could be made for virtually any. Make the build your own. These are just guidelines. Second level bards get jack of all trades, letting you add half your proficiency bonus to skill checks you aren't proficient with. Considering how many proficiencies you have, and we're not done yet, this isn't as big of a buff as it normally is, but who's going to complain about higher rolls? You also get Song of Rest, letting your allies heal an extra d6 on short rests. Regular Justice League don't have any music on the Watchtower, but apparently Justice League Dark got really into Black Flag covers. For this level spell, Disguise Self lets you change your appearance for an hour, can be seen through with an investigation check against your spell DC. But you're so suave, no one will roll that. Third level bards pick a bard college, and the lore bard is perfect for the Hellblazer. It's basically a subclass for a person who knows everything about everything. Get 3 more skills of your choice. Investigation, perception, and history are all things John excels at. You can also use cutting words to use your bardic inspiration to lower an enemy's attack, ability, or damage roll by shouting something obscene at them. With this and vicious mockery, you have 2 abilities that weaponize your potty mouth. You also get expertise in 2 more skills. Arcana and religion will make you more of a know-it-all. I'd go for those. Finally, you can learn 2nd level spells. Invisibility turns a creature or object you touch invisible for an hour depending on your concentration. They can't catch you if they can't see you, unless they can smell you, which they probably can because you smoke like a chimney. Don't smoke, kids. It makes you a worse bard. 4th level bards get an ability score improvement. Bump that charisma for higher saves. You're leaning pretty heavily on illusory magic, so you need those to be real high. For your spell, hold person paralyzes a humanoid that fails a wisdom saving throw for up to a minute depending on your concentration. This will also benefit from very high saves. Bouncing back to rogue, 3rd level rogues can choose a roguish archetype. The arcane trickster is like a rogue but with spells. Very specific wizard spells to be specific. You can learn 3 wizard spells from the illusion or enchantment list, and it might seem weird, but we're going to grab charm person, disguise self, and silent image even though we already have them from the bard list, so we can swap in 3 new bard spells from higher levels. Making weird arcane deals to exploit the loopholes of your reality is pretty much the most John Constantine move you can make. You also get 3 wizard cantrips, one of which has to be mage hand. This is a floating spectral hand that can lift objects that weigh up to 10 pounds or less. Because you're an arcane trickster, you're a mage hand legerdemain, meaning that your mage hand is invisible. You can move it as a bonus action instead of an action, pickpocket or reverse pickpocket someone, or use thieves tools to pick a lock or disarm a trap. If you want to be sneaky, you can even use sleight of hand for this, and hey, you're an expert at that. For your 2 cantrips, shocking grasp is a melee spell attack, dealing 2d8 lightning damage and preventing a target from taking reactions. This is great with cunning action, as you can disengage for free when they don't have a reaction, and dash with your bonus action to get out fast. Light creates a light, you don't have dark vision, it's helpful. Speaking of helpful, your sneak attack also increases to 2d6. Since we're multi-classing spellcasters here, check out page 165 of the player's handbook to figure out how many spells you have at any given level. Just remember, you're using intelligence for your trickster spells, charisma for your bard spells. 4th level rogues get an ability score improvement. Count the charisma for a great relationship with horrible creatures. You can also learn another spell. Tasha's Hideous Laughter forces a wisdom saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they're incapacitated and fall prone, laughing hysterically. If you're noticing a lot of your spells are focused on immobilizing and otherwise stopping demons from chasing you, remember that running is a viable option. 5th level rogues get uncanny dodge, letting you cut damage from a source you can see by half as a reaction. John's got quick reflexes and breakable bones. Keep yourself alive. Sneak attack also goes up to 3d6. 6th level rogues get another round of expertise. History and persuasion would be my picks. We'll be getting more, but it's worth pointing out that you have 11 total proficiencies, 6 with expertise. Absolutely amazing role-playing potential for a character that I'm guessing you rolled up for role-playing purposes. Back over to bard. Since we're taking a bard level, we can grab 3 spells to swap for the ones we put on the trickster list and another spell from the 5th level of bard. Dispel Magic automatically removes a spell effect of 3rd level or lower and can remove higher level spells with a charisma check of 10 plus that spell's level. A lot of your work is abjurative. I actually almost made this an abjuration wizard before realizing it didn't do the skills justice. Speak with the Dead lets you ask a dead body 5 questions as long as it still has a mouth. It won't learn anything new after it died, so stick to the standard who killed you, what were they wearing, where can I get a drink around here type questions. Glyph of Warding takes an hour, but it's very useful to protect magical items. You set a glyph on a surface of 10 feet or less or an object. It pops off when something interacts with it. If you want to store a spell of 3rd level or lower in the glyph, you can do that, or you can just make it explode, dealing 5d8 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage to creatures within 20 feet of it that fail a dex save. Keep the other kids out of your toy box. There's dangerous stuff in there. Your bardic inspiration die also increases to a d8, and you recover those on short rests with Font of Inspiration for more combat, punk rock, or distracting quips with cutting words. 6th level bards get Counter Charm, letting you use your action to give allies within 30 feet of you advantage on being charmed or frightened. Incubuses love to charm. Other demons love to frighten. John's pretty good at calming people down. As a lore bard, you also get additional magical secrets, the sequel to an ability that you don't get until level 10, basically lets you grab 2 spells from any list that isn't bard. False Life is a 1st level wizard spell that gives you 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points. You know how you're like pseudo immortal? It's kind of like that. Also, the material component for this is booze. Happy accident. Magic Weapon is a second level spell that lets you bless a weapon, giving it +1 to attack and damage rolls. Lots of higher level monsters can shrug off basic hits. This makes sure that you and your allies will be able to bring the hurt. 7th level bards can learn 4th level spells. Confusion forces a wisdom save on creatures in a 10-foot radius sphere. Failing that, their behavior turns erratic. They can't take reactions and roll a d10 at the start of their turns. If they roll a 1, they run in any random direction and don't take an action. On a 2 through 6, they just stand there and don't do anything. On a 7 or 8, they make a melee attack on a creature within range, and on a 9 or 10, they can act normally. They reroll the wisdom save on their turn, but you've got a really high DC, so it should mess with a few enemies for a few rounds at the very least. 8th level bards get an ability score improvement. I'd maybe invest in intelligence, but really your expertise in all those skills kind of fills in the blanks, so I'd actually invest in dexterity for more accurate attacks if you're trying to land your sneak attack, and better AC to avoid damage. Speaking of avoiding damage, Dimension Door lets you avoid an entire fight, teleporting you and your favorite adjacent ally to a place up to 500 feet away as an action. 9th level bards get to bump their Song of Rest up to a D8, which honestly isn't even great if we didn't multi-class, and is even worse because we did. 8 HP isn't a whole lot when you're level 15, at least I hope it isn't. Who dumped Constitution in your group? Don't do that. You can also learn 5th level spells. Hold Monster is like Hold Person, but without the humanoid restriction, which is great because a lot of your clients need extra dimensional assistance. 10th level bards get Magical Secrets, the prequel to your 6th level ability. Grab Summon Greater Demon from the 4th level of the wizard list to conjure a demon of challenge rating 5 or lower. It follows your orders until it makes a charisma save against your spell DC. If you lose concentration, it still hangs out for 1d6 rounds and might try and hurt you. Keep in mind, you can make a warding circle with the blood from the material components that the demon can't cross, but then they get consumed. Oh, by the way, you need blood of a humanoid killed in the last 24 hours for this, which shouldn't be a problem. People die around you all the time. Scrying actually is a bard spell. They don't all have to be from another list. This lets you see and hear a target you know on the same plane of existence that fails a wisdom save. There are more modifiers that affect this, like your relationship to the person and what you're using to connect to them. If they make the save, nothing happens and you can't try again for 24 hours. People who can see invisible things see a little orb of light when you're casting this spell, and you can use this to just look at places as well, but it won't move with anyone going through that space. A little preemptive divination can go a long way. You also get expertise in 2 more skills. Go for investigation and perception to become the ultimate spiritual detective. Finally, your bardic inspiration die also increases to a D10. Bard level 10, really great. Lots of good stuff. 11th level bards can learn 6th level spells. True Seeing gives a creature you touch True Sight, meaning that they can see invisibility, illusions, any shapeshifter's true form, and through darkness or advanced darkness. This also helps you find hidden doors and lets you see 120 feet into the ethereal plane. It lasts for an hour and makes sure that you're not the one getting tricked. 12th level bards can get another ability score improvement. Again, expertise is doing its work for most of your skills, so let's bump dexterity a little bit more to get you prepared for combat. 13th level bards can learn 7th level spells, but I'm actually going to recommend guards and wards from the 6th level. This lets you set up a magical stronghold with a floor space of 2,500 feet. You can pick creatures to be immune or set up a password. The guards and wards are permanent fog, shifting hallways, arcane locks on 8 doors, webs on the stairs, and one of the following: dancing lights in 4 locations, a magic mouth in 2 locations, a stinking cloud in 2 locations, a gust of wind in 1 location, or a suggestion spell. This lasts for 24 hours, and since it's so situational, I'll just let you look up all those spell effects. John is a person of self-sufficiency. You should be too. Song of Rest also increases to a D10. Our capstone is the 14th level of Lore Bard for Peerless Skill, letting you add your bardic inspiration to your ability checks. Even though you're already adding 6 from your proficiency bonus to 3 skills, 12 for 8 of your skills, and 3 for every other skill from Jack of all trades. What I'm saying is you probably won't need this, but if you do, it's there. You also get the sequel to the prequel of Magical Secrets. It's a weird order. Grab Plane Shift. It's a 7th level sorcerer spell. It lets you bring up to 8 members of the Justice League Dark to another plane of your choice. You could also make a melee spell attack against a creature to force them to make a charisma save to send them to another plane if you'd rather just get rid of someone else. Banishment is a 4th level cleric spell that sends a creature that fails a charisma save to a demi-plane or the plane of origin for 1 minute. If they're from some other plane and you hold concentration for that minute, they stay there. It's like Plane Shift, but cheaper on the spell slots and without the ability to send you and your friends to hell, and they only stay in hell if they're from hell. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how good of a build this is. First, you have skills. The most skills, the best skills. So many skills, you need a skill to track how many skills you have, and you're probably an expert in that skill. You're also a great defensive caster with methods to trick and immobilize your enemies or just run away if you have to. Finally, despite your gruff demeanor, you play very well with others. Bardic inspiration, magical weapon, and invisible pickpocket hand. Even if you're not the right person for the job, you should definitely be able to assist the one who is. For weaknesses, you're not dealing a lot of damage. With no major offensive spells and limited sneak attacks at higher levels, you're gonna have to get creative to solve your problems. You're also mixing casters, so all the trickster spells are just not quite as good as the bard spells. Finally, because of multi-classing, you're unable to get the highest level of bard spells, and there's some great stuff in there. But instead of spells you can use only once per day, you have skills you can use as much as you want. Pair your amazing knowledge skills with unmatched charisma to figure out a loophole to save the world. Just remember to get the team out when you have to. You got plenty of dead friends already. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We do 2 builds per week. If you really like the video, join the Patreon. Rewards are coming soon, like a Discord server, character sheets for all my builds, and come back next week for a serpent and a singer.